Have you ever looked at the ingredients on a food package and realized you had no idea what some of that stuff was? Well, you're not alone. Food labels can read more like a list from a science experiment than from a list of ingredients we actually recognize. Do you know that the food industry actually allows more than 3,000 food additives to be used to process our food? These additives help improve taste, texture, consistency, and sometimes the visual appeal of the food. But they can also help extend the shelf life too. Reading your food labels is the best way to purchase the healthiest food for you and your family. But you probably find it difficult to figure them out. You might be confused and even overwhelmed. And to make matters worse, food manufacturers often highlight health and nutritional benefits on the front of the package. But the true information is usually on the back. The actual reason that food companies put nutritional information on the front of packages is to sell food. Reassuring us that this product is what we really want to purchase because we like the taste, it fits into our budget, and it's the healthiest choice. But unless we compare nutrition facts on the back of the package, there's no way for sure to know exactly what we're getting. My name is Amy, and I'm a certified elite personal trainer, nutrition coach, and PSA ranked and rated figure skating coach. I often provide nutrition coaching to my skaters and other athletes to help improve their sports performance. But here's the thing, it's not just athletes. I often work with athletes' parents and families, people just like you, as well as other coaches, to help them create change and get real results. Poor nutrition can lead to fatigue, dehydration, and poor health, all of which negatively affect your body's performance, whether you're an athlete or not. Fueling your body correctly is often overlooked, but it's a critical aspect of sports and exercise performance, as well as academic and work performance, and even your emotional well-being. So it goes without saying that nutrition is a huge part of your health and wellness. Today, I'm going to go over nutrition labels with you. Learning to decipher food labels is critical to be more aware of what you're actually eating, and it can help you make more informed decisions. Unfortunately, U.S. labeling laws can make it difficult to determine if a food is healthy for us at first glance. The FDA and the USDA regulate some food packaging claims, which include what constitutes a food that is high in a nutrient like vitamin C or fiber, what calorie-free means. Hint, the portion typically consumed contains less than 5 calories. And I bet you thought that calorie-free meant 0 calories, no matter how much you eat. That would make sense, right? What constitutes an organic product? That the term healthy can be only used for foods that meet certain criteria for fat, cholesterol, saturated fat, and some vitamins and minerals. But a healthy food can have as much sugar as it wants. So that's why sometimes my figure skaters will come up to me and go, "But this is healthy. It's a granola bar. It says so on the box." Then I have to turn the box around and explain to them what the ingredients actually mean. Now, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, oversees food advertising, such as making sure phrases, including packed with or lots of, actually meet the FDA's regulations for high nutrient food. However, as with many things, there are lots of gray areas that have no specific regulations at all. Words like natural, whole grains, fresh, fat-free, and low-fat are most often the things that we want to avoid. You might be surprised to find out that there's no defined regulation for the term whole, which most consumers generally assume means a whole food, something that's minimally processed, such as fresh produce or whole grains. This is crazy, I know. The shopping landscape is just not as straightforward as it appears to be. The best way to get an accurate view of what's in the food that you're buying is to look at that nutrition facts label that's on the back of the package, especially the ingredient list. We need to dig a little bit deeper and do some detective work, but it's worth the effort. For example, most of us know that eating whole grain, higher fiber foods is important for our health. But how do we determine which bread, cereal, or crackers contain the whole grains? It's a confusing world out there. Wheat, multigrain, made with whole grain, 12 grain. A recent study asked more than 1,000 consumers to identify the healthiest food based on whole grain choices from two options. One option had a whole grain claim on the front of the package, but actually contained fewer whole grains and often more sugar, saturated fat, or sodium, as identified on the nutrition facts label on the back of the package. The other product didn't have a whole grain label on the front, but as you might have guessed, it contained more whole grains. 29 to 47% of respondents incorrectly identified the healthier option, the one without the whole grains label on the front of the package. It may be difficult to believe, but there are no firm federal guidelines that regulate the description of whole grains. Draft guidance was issued in 2006, but still, at the time of filming this in 2021, that's 15 years later, no firm guidelines have been set. There's a significant reason why there's so much confusion over various grains on bread and cereal packaging. For example, there's no definition about the amount of whole grains contained in foods that are labeled whole grains. And food manufacturers would probably like us to believe that wheat is the same as 100% whole wheat, but there's no regulations around that either. So the best way to determine if a food contains 100% whole grains is to look at the ingredients on the nutrition facts on the back of the package. Again, the front of the package is designed to sell you the product. Think of it like an advertising billboard and assume that it could be deceiving. The only way to know what's in the food that you're buying is to read the ingredient list, not the claims on the front. Always be suspicious and dig deeper for the facts. Food companies are allowed to promote benefits on the front of the package that are not necessarily true. For example, a food can contain MSG, disguised under another name, but the packaging can claim no MSG on the front. I'll go into the list of these other names in a bit. Getting back to our example of whole grains. To be sure you're actually getting whole grains, the first ingredient should include the word whole, such as whole oats, whole wheat. You get the idea. You could also look for a whole grain stamp. This was developed by the Whole Grains Council in 2005 to clearly define the amount of whole grains in various foods. But it's super important for you to know that for a food to display the whole grain stamp, the company must be a member of the Whole Grains Council and complete an application for each food, which is then reviewed. Now, as you can imagine, this could be costly for companies, so they may just not do it. Some companies may decide not to spend the money to join the Whole Grains Council. So there are 100% whole grain foods that may just not display the stamp at all. To make matters even worse, there are 3 different kinds of this stamp. The 100% stamp, which means what it says, that all the food's grain ingredients are 100% whole grains with a minimum requirement of 16 grams of whole grains per serving. Then there's the 50% plus stamp. This means that at least half the grains on the ingredient list are whole grain, with a minimum requirement of 8 grams of whole grains per serving. This is the newest whole grain stamp, and it was added in January of 2017. Then there's the basic stamp. This is for food that contains at least 8 grams of whole grains. However, there may be more refined grains than whole grains. So once again, reading the nutrition facts label and the ingredient list is the best way and the most accurate way for you to choose the healthiest food. You can look for the 100% whole grains stamp to be absolutely sure that the food that you're getting is made only with whole grains and is not a mixture of refined and whole grains. But keep in mind that not all products that are 100% whole grains have this stamp because they have to join the council, which costs money, and then they have to submit an application for each food, which also costs money. So there may be options out there that are whole grain, 100%, and don't have this stamp. The other thing you can do is look at the ingredients label. The first ingredient should include the word whole, such as whole oats or whole wheat. And when you're looking at the stamps, I would just honestly ignore this basic stamp and the 50% plus stamp because, in my opinion, the other stamps are confusing. If it doesn't have the 100% stamp, I would just ignore it. And honestly, I just look at the ingredients label. It's also important to look at the sugar and sodium content on the nutrition facts label. Fat can be replaced with sugar, and sodium content can often be very high in packaged foods, since salt is often used as a way to preserve food and keep it from spoiling. I always suggest you just minimize all processed foods. These are foods that come in a package, a bag, a box, and stick to whole foods. These are most often found in the fresh food aisles, around the store's perimeter. And before you put any packaged items into your cart, ask yourself if it's a real whole food, or could it be a food-like substance? By doing this, you'll reduce your intake of processed foods and reap the rewards of eating healthier whole foods. So why shouldn't you eat processed foods? Processed foods have been altered from their natural state. There are varying degrees of processed foods, from minimally processed to highly processed. Generally, the less processing a food has undergone and the fewer ingredients on the package, the more nutritious it will be. The more processing a food has to go through, the fewer nutrients it actually retains. And what that means is more empty calories and no to very little nutritional benefit. Processed foods tend to be low in nutrients and high in calories. They tend to not keep us full for very long, so we're hungry again a short time later, and thus we'll eat more. Most processed foods are designed with convenience in mind. They can be eaten quickly and easily on the go and require little to no preparation. Highly processed foods can include snack foods, desserts, candy, chips, ice cream, cakes, and you get the idea. Highly processed animal products include deli meats, chicken nuggets, hot dogs, and some sausages and hamburgers too. And processed foods can cause nutrient deficiencies because you're not consuming enough vitamins, minerals, and essential fatty acids in your food, which prevents us from getting the minimum daily requirement of what our bodies need. Processed food lack nutrients, especially if our goal is to improve our overall health or for weight loss. But minimally processed foods, on the other hand, such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds, whole grains, meat, and fish, they are sometimes sold in minimally processed forms, although there can be processed versions. These foods are usually not substantially changed from their raw, unprocessed form and retain most of their nutritional value. Once you start making the healthier choices, it'll become automatic over time, and you won't miss the processed foods anymore because you'll be feeling so much better. Now let's talk food additives for a minute. Studies show that food additives affect digestion, appetite control, brain function, memory, weight gain, quality of sleep, concentration, energy levels, gut flora, deficiencies of micronutrients. What are the top offenders and controversial ingredients? High fructose corn syrup definitely tops the list here. This has been shown to damage immune function, speed up the aging process, and contribute to weight gain. And it's found in almost everything from crackers to bread, chips, yogurt, and sauces. I'm generally amazed at how many products include high fructose corn syrup. Refined sugar. People in the US consume 130 to 160 pounds a year of processed sugar. In other words, we're consuming half a cup a day. And most of us don't even know we're doing it. This is because it's in a lot of processed foods. And high sugar consumption and the corresponding elevated insulin levels can cause weight gain, bloating, fatigue, arthritis, migraines, lowered immune function, obesity, cavities, and cardiovascular disease. It can also disrupt absorption of nutrients, leading to osteoporosis, depression, PMS, and stress. Trans fats. These are found in hydrogenated oil and partially hydrogenated oil. According to the Harvard School of Public Health, trans fats cause about 50,000 premature heart attack deaths per year. Trans fats also increase the risk of cancer, obesity, depression, asthma, osteoporosis, and more. And trans fats are found in cookies, cakes, frozen food, crackers, and chips. The good news is the US government is finally taking some action to eliminate the use of trans fats in our food supply. We're taking a step in the right direction, but we're not there yet. So it's still something to look out for. Earlier we talked about MSG. This stands for monosodium glutamate. You'd be shocked to know where this substance lurks. It can be disguised as yeast extract, natural flavorings. By the way, that doesn't always mean MSG, but it sometimes does. And there's a whole tons more I'm going to put on the screen right here so you can see some of the names for MSG. It's very common to find it in soups, sauces, crackers, flavored chips, etc. Studies show that mice injected with MSG increase their food intake by more than 40%. And it's known to cause obesity. Plus, it's a neurotoxin, which means it's toxic to our nervous system. Another thing is carrageenan. This is used as a thickener, a stabilizer, or emulsifier. And it's a derivative of seaweed, so it sounds like this would be a good thing, but it's totally not. It's linked to GI problems, irritable bowel syndrome, gas, and bloating. It can also be contaminated with carcinogens during processing. Look for this on the ingredient list of non-dairy milk like almond milk, coconut milk, cheeses, cottage cheese, sour cream, ice cream. It's in a lot of ice cream, unfortunately. Whipped cream, processed deli meats, infant formula, believe it or not, and flavored coconut waters. Only purchase brands that don't use carrageenan. Sulfites and sulfates. I talk about this a lot when I do my unboxings. Sulfites destroy vitamin B1, which is vital for mental clarity and heart health. It's most commonly found in processed lunch meats and hot dogs, bacon. Sometimes it can be added to beer and wine. If you're going to buy lunch meats, stick to organic lunch meats. Applegate Farms has them, and they don't contain sulfites. I buy bacon that, instead of sulfites, has celery powder or celery juice. The same with sausage. So that's one way to avoid it. There's a link in the description down below to Seven Sons Farms as well as the Butcher Box. And those are some places you can get sulfite-free hot dogs and bacon from. Artificial flavors and colors. There was a report, Food Dyes, a rainbow of risks. This was produced by the Center of Science and Public Interest. There's a link in the description down below. It revealed 9 of the food dyes that are currently approved for use are linked to health issues ranging from cancer and hyperactivity to allergy-like reactions. Red number 40 may accelerate the appearance of immune system tumors in mice. Blue number 2 was linked to brain tumors. And yellow number 5 may not only be contaminated with several cancer-causing chemicals, but it's also linked to hyperactivity, hypersensitivity, and behavioral effects in children. And these are in many products, including sports drinks, which is why I don't recommend that you use those. As well as sodas, frozen treats like popsicles, flavored chips, fruit snacks, candy, etc. Artificial sweeteners. Did you know that artificial sweeteners can reduce your gut bacteria by 50%? 50%! And it's also been found to spike insulin levels and leptin levels. This can obviously cause weight gain, even though you're drinking a 0-calorie beverage. Leptin is a hormone that tells your body when it's full. When this hormone is overstimulated, your body does not get the message that you're satiated, leading to consuming more food than you usually would. BHA and BHT. These are 2 food additives commonly used to prevent oils from going rancid. Studies have shown that BHA causes carcinogens that are stomach focused. Genetically modified organisms, GMOs. These are plants or animals that have had their DNA modified. Sounds pretty scary, right? Well, in the US, most corn, wheat, soybean, cotton, and canola crops are now genetically modified. GMOs have not been proven safe. And some studies show that GMOs decrease immunity to diseases in plants as well as humans. They may also cause resistance to antibiotics and could have a negative impact on genetic function. For a current list of all GMO foods, go to the Environmental Working Group, EWG, at ewg.org. Looking at this list of additives, and this is only a short list, it's a very quick summary. I cut out a lot of things I wanted to include because I'd be talking for days. We have to wonder how our food supply has gotten so far removed from what nature intended. The good news is we get to choose what we eat. We get to vote with our dollars at the store. Your best bet is to stick with organic, non-GMO, unprocessed, and minimally processed whole foods as much as possible. When you pick up a food, if there's a long list of ingredients, as a rule, that means more than 5. Or you see ingredients that you wouldn't find in your own kitchen, put it back and find something else. You can make it even more simple and just not buying anything that comes in a package. No bags or boxes or cans. Just buy the whole foods around the perimeter of the store. Don't feel overwhelmed with this information. Use it to become more aware. You can start with something as simple as just reading the food labels. Maybe work on one meal at a time and implement more whole foods during the day. Just decide what you want to start with first. You don't have to do this all at once. It may not be completely realistic to eliminate all processed foods either. However, the more whole foods you can add to your diet, the better. There are always healthier versions of what you like to eat. You deserve the best, so eat more real whole food. Here's something you can do right now. Check out all the packaged items in your pantry and read the labels. Leave me comments down below and let me know what you find. And if you need some new delicious breakfast ideas, I have my free, brand new, protein-packed breakfast guide. Just go to amyricka.com/freebies and get your copy there. There's lots of other stuff on that page too, and you don't have to just pick one. You can get as many of those things as you like as my gift to you for watching this video. And if you like this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends and on social media too. And if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so that you never miss a video. This is Amy. Thank you for watching. I will see you real soon. Bye.